the Anarchy. This is your review for 2. Good day, this is Joe. Today we'll be going over the Anarchy and how it plays with 2 players. Now the Anarchy is a 1 to 4 player game where you'll be playing over 5 rounds, trying to siege castles, defend your own castle, and build up your player area, all while scoring the most points. So let's see a little bit more how to play. So if you guys are familiar with Hadrian's Wall, this plays very similar to that. So in this game, you will be having to defend your castle on certain attacks. There's certain directions that these attacks are going to come from, and there's certain types of attacks. You may have to defend with a siege wall, or you may have to defend with ballista or walls or these siege towers. And if you can't do that, you need to defend with people. And hopefully by the end of the round, you have enough defense around your castle that you let 0 invaders in. At the start of the game, you're going to start with one of these cards plus an extra one, and it determines which direction you're going to come from. And then you're going to get a card. Everybody, there's going to be these cards dealt on the table, and you're going to pick one at a time with the kind of the resources you're going to have for the round. And at the bottom, kind of end of game scoring. So there's going to be a total of 15 points out there that you can score at the end of the round. So you're going to gather up your people, you're going to gather up your pieces. You may get some coins, some sticks, and some bread that you're going to spend. And as you spend those things, you're going to mark them off your board. You may want to get extra walls. You may want to get extra towers. You may need to defend against certain attacks. And then you go on the right side of your board where you're going to spend your resources to get more governance. So you can get more money and get more warcraft. So you can get different defense. But it's basically, think of it like a roll and write, but it's not quite a roll and write in the typical sense. And you're really trading resources for other resources, to do other things, to build up your area, to build your moat, to do certain things. And it's just kind of a lot of fun as you go through that. But essentially, you're going to have each turn, you're going to start off with the starting resources. Plus, in the later round, you're going to get more and more resources as you get the every round bonuses. You'll want to get your bravery, loyalty, influence, and might up as far as you can, because those are also victory points. But you're going to essentially be just scratching things off the board, upgrading your area, all while defending against progressively more and harder attacks. And you also need to siege a harder and harder attack. So it's just a lot of fun, and I'll go into what I thought about the game. But after the 5 rounds, whoever has the most bravery, loyalty, influence, you add those up. You add up your end of game scoring conditions, and then you subtract the amount of invaders. Hopefully you didn't let any invaders, and hopefully you fed your people throughout the game. So let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. So the components, rules, and references. The components are fine in this game. They give you a lot of different colored meeples. They give you just some coins. The game itself is pretty good. Now it is a little expensive for what you think you get in the box, but they do give you just a ton of these pads to write on. You can look online. I think if you did not get the pre-order version, I think the pre-order version did come with a few of these dry erasable mats, which is very nice. But they do come with a lot of player kind of pen and paper boards. And like I said, a lot of meeples, a lot of things in the box. So it does come with a lot of stuff in the box. And as far as the rules and references go, the rules are fairly straightforward if you're familiar with Hadrian's Wall. Now, if you aren't, this will take a little bit to get used to, but because there are a lot of little things to remember. But the rulebook does a great job of stepping you through every single checkbox that you can mark off and exactly what it does. And I love that. You know, this rulebook is pretty long, but as you go through it and as you go through the game, the icons really just make sense. And that's what I really like about this game is the references. You really don't need that many references because it's pretty clear once you've played a couple games how to play. Let's talk about setup and table size. Setup really is only going to take you about 5 minutes max, and it really is shuffling cards and getting kind of the board ready, because the rest of the game is you marking stuff off, as you building this little your little castle, your little keep, and it's a lot of fun. There's not a whole lot to keep track of. Now, I am a little bit more spread out here, so don't take this table size as gospel, but I think you'll need a 3x3 for 2 players. I am a little bit more spread out here because I have been playing through the solo campaign after my wife and I have played, and Devin from Dads and Dice have played. So I'm spread out here, but this really can take you about 3x3 on a normal table space. So let's go into the gameplay, and that's where I think this game really shines. Is, you don't have to, but they encourage you to attack these buildings. They encourage you to make sure you go on the offense and hit certain milestones. They encourage you to make sure you defend, and make sure you can defend against some unknown threats. Some threats you know exactly what you need, but you don't know which direction they're going to come from. And I think this really enhances the Hadrian's Wall mechanic of, they give you more information. It's not just which direction they're coming from. They're saying, hey, they're coming by, you'll need some rocks to defend against this attack, but you don't know which direction. Well, you can just make sure you have enough rocks to defend. Make sure you have enough people that you can move around, you can maneuver around. And I really like this iteration of the game. I've always liked the medieval and the castle defense games, and this really feels like one, especially in this portion of it. And then you get into kind of the meat and potatoes of the game and the rest of the board, where you can spend money to upgrade and get people exactly where you need the certain types of people. You're going to have to upgrade your siege craft so you can siege better, as you try to attack the enemy to get more rewards. Then you can also work towards something. You can work toward the end of round goals. So every round you'll get extra stuff, kind of your income, if you will, where you can, say, oh, I really need a knight every single round from here on, and you can find the path that'll give it to you. I really like that all 4 of the tracks in this game are good. They're varied. They're unique. They have enough randomness that it's fun. Where Hadrian's Wall, I think there was definitely 2 tracks that were a little bit more, you just didn't go down them as much. I find myself really enjoying going down each one of these individual tracks, where you're going to need some warcraft, because you got to, defend against certain types of attacks. Your governance is kind of how you're going to make an income, make a money income stream. And then, worship is, well, do you need some, of the white colored guys, to do certain things? Do you need to do the chapel? Do you need to try to marry people to try to get more income from, from the serfs, from the yellow? And then the entertainment is kind of the random one. Do you need to go to a jousting tournament? You flip over 2 random cards, but you could get really nice rewards as you move on to these tracks. So I think they balance the randomness from the amount of resources you get. On the 5th turn, you're going to have a bucket load of different colored meeples. You're going to have a bucket load of money and of wood, but you're going to have to spend that to build up your tower, to defend against that last attack, and to really, kind of solidify and get as many points as you can. And that's a lot of fun at this game, is I think just trading in resources, marking off things, making your area better. And it feels good, and it's just a lot of fun. And I really like the gameplay flow of this game. So how does the Anarchy play for 2? And I will say it plays pretty similar 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. The only thing is going to be everybody's going to have different attacks that come at you. And the starting player is going to choose which one of their cards they're going to choose for the turn, and so this is kind of a decently big influence on which the resources you're going to get for the turn, and the end of game scoring. So the end of game scoring is very important, because everybody's going to score about the same amount of points, that 70 to 80 range, but it's how can you use these bottom scoring to either boost you up or down maybe 10 to 15 18 points throughout the game if you can accomplish all your goals. So there's going to lay out however many there are players, and just choose. So in 2 players, one person is going to get first choice and they're going to choose, and the other person is going to kind of have to adjust their strategy a little bit. And I do like that in the 2-player game. But other than that, the game plays the same. The gameplay is going to be about the same amount of time as long as both players are playing about the same speed. It is interesting. I did enjoy with Devin from Dads and Dice to see what kind of attacks got against him, because sometimes some of these attacks are pretty rough to defend against, or maybe you have a lot of siege weapons you have to defend against, where your opponent has a lot of just soldiers coming in from the different directions. It's just kind of neat to see at the end of the round, oh, did you defend against all your attacks? Oh, I did. Did you? Oh, no, I wasn't able to feed my people. And it's just, this game is a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it plays much differently. Like I said, at 2 players. Have not played this at 3, but I know how 3 is going to go, because it's just kind of a solitaire game for the most part. I love that it gives you, there's a solitaire rule book of 20 different scenarios, and they really just they encourage you to go down one path, kind of every game, with a few different cards in the river that you're going to be able to attack. There's varying difficulty levels in this game, which I like for both multiplayer and solo. Just, this game is a lot of fun. It's pretty straightforward. Once you have the rules down, it's one that you probably won't forget how to play. You can play multiple games back to back. The gameplay itself takes about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours when you really start to chug, especially near the end. But we've really enjoyed our time with this game. Pretty easy to get to the table. I will say this is going to replace Hadrian's Wall for me, but this is mainly because of this castle mechanic and building out my castle, my defense, and just watching the other player and how they build out there. So if you like Hadrian's Wall, this is kind of a must, kind of the next iteration that you're gonna like to play. But other than that, this is just a fun game. I can't really call this a roll and write, but it is, it feels like one, because you are marking off things, you're trading in different resources. Just a really unique game. I don't have anything bad to say about the Anarchy, minus maybe the price of the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and until next time.